up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be yet another sorority video. You guys have been loving these and I've been so excited to make them for you finally. So I'm just gonna hop right into it. Today's video is gonna be tips that you need to know for recruitment. These are all the tips that I wish I knew when I was preparing to go through recruitment around this time last year. So I made a list in my iPad of everything that I wish I knew, and I'm gonna share them with you, and just like kind of tips that I learned as I went on throughout the week and stuff like that. The first tip that I have is to plan out your outfits pretty far in advance. I started planning mine honestly like kind of embarrassingly early. I planned mine when I was still in high school. I know over spring break I got a few things when I was on vacation and I saw them and I was like, oh my gosh, these would be perfect for Rush. So I got them and I ended up wearing them during Rush. Definitely like it's not that deep to get them in March, but kind of have it in mind because I knew I was gonna be going through the process. So as soon as I saw something that I loved and I knew it would be perfect for it, I just snatched it up, because as things get closer and people are like rushing to buy things for recruitment, people are probably going to be buying kind of the same things. If you're getting them around the same time, stores are going to have the same things. So just keep that in mind. I got mine from a lot of like online boutiques or just random little boutiques so that my clothes would be unique and nobody else would have them. Of course, you can't like, it's not that deep if somebody does have some of the same clothes as you, but I just got some that I thought maybe other people wouldn't necessarily think about going to that store. So definitely give yourself plenty of time to get your outfits, but also don't be too hard on yourself about your outfits. A sorority is way more likely to want you based on the conversation that you have rather than like the clothes that you're wearing or the brand that you're wearing. The clothes are just there to present yourself and kind of show the sorority your style. Let it present you like how you want to be seen. So like show off your style. If you have like an edgy style, wear some edgy clothes while still making it like cute and pretty classy. But yeah, definitely show off your style. Don't be too hard on yourself again, because you know, sororities are more concerned about your conversation with them and how you present yourself as a person rather than like, again, the brand you're wearing, not that important. I did just make a video all about outfits for recruitment and what you should be wearing, so I'll link that up here and in the description if you're interested in seeing that. The next thing is to make kind of a little essentials bag. For us, Panhellenic actually gave us a drawstring backpack that we were required to use, but if your Panhellenic organization doesn't give you a backpack, definitely make one yourself. For me, I went to Walgreens and I got some mints or some gum to put in there, perfume and deodorant just to touch up with that. If you want to bring any touch-up makeup like lipstick or just random powder in case you get oily. I also had oil blotting sheets in there that really came in handy. A mini fan or something like that, especially if you're rushing in Florida or Alabama or Georgia or somewhere it gets like extremely hot. In most parts of the country it's going to be hot in August, so definitely just keep that in mind. But Florida was killer this past year, and it was also raining, so bring an umbrella. Get ready for like whatever Mother Nature throws at you, because it was hot one day and then raining and muggy the next day. So I did have an umbrella as well, and then of course plenty of water. They had water filling stations set up for us at every house that we went to, but definitely bring a water bottle so you can keep refilling it. And yeah, I also had bobby pins and hairspray in case anything happened to my hair and I wanted to touch that up. Something to take notes with. For me it was just my phone, but if you don't do that, then you can bring just like a notepad and a pen to take notes on after you leave each chapter. Band-aids is important too, because you're gonna be probably getting blisters, especially me. I had bought new shoes just for Rush Week, so if you have bought new shoes, definitely be prepared to get blisters because they're gonna be brand new and you probably haven't broken them in yet. And then Advil. For me, I was just getting headaches from being out in the hot sun. I was probably way too overly dehydrated and like didn't have enough like sugar in me, so definitely bring Advil in case you get, you know, a headache or whatever. Also bring like a little Cliff Bar or a little snack in case you do get hungry, or hangry in my case, throughout the recruitment process. My next tip is to ask good questions, and I know this is kind of like self-explanatory, like why wouldn't you ask good questions, but I'm gonna give you guys a few of my questions that I asked throughout the week that I saw to be really helpful and really gave me an insight onto which chapter I liked the best. I would ask the girls if they had ever lived in house or if they planned on the main house, because I knew that I wanted to live in the sorority house of whatever chapter I ended up in. So it was really fun to hear all the girls experiences if they had lived in house, and it got me super excited. And like I know a few of the chapters that I went to, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so excited to live in house, like what is it like? And one of the girls was like, oh my gosh, like I wish I could take you on a tour right now. And she kind of like gave me like a virtual tour, like sitting in our conversation. So she was like, upstairs there's like this room and this room and this room and this room, and like explaining it. Obviously I'm not gonna like explain it because I'm not I'm not her or in that chapter, but it was really fun to have those conversations with people where they just be like, oh my gosh, we have these amenities to offer and like so many fun things. And it was just super cool to hear what every house had to offer. And living in house is one of the big things that I knew was important to me, so I loved asking questions related to that. Another thing I asked was about involvement opportunities. This is another thing that I knew was super important to me. I was super involved in high school, and I knew I wanted to get involved in college, especially with the sorority that I was in. So I asked about you know, ways that I could be a leader in the chapter and whatever, and they were more than happy to tell me about all of the positions they had to offer, because they want girls to get involved. Like that's one of the big things that they're looking for most of the time is involvement. They want people to want to pursue like positions on executive boards and stuff like that. So that is something that I talked with a lot of the girls about, and they were super happy to hear that I was excited to get involved with the sorority more. This is one thing that I had to keep in mind, because like while you're selling yourself to them, they're also trying to sell themselves to you. So you want them to be really selling the chapter to you. You don't want to be the one making all the conversation. They're trained and they have been like taught how to have the conversation throughout recruitment week, but you should really want them to sell the sorority to you, because in the end it's like you guys are both choosing each other. Like you want them to want you, but you also want to want them. So it's kind of like a mutual thing where you both want to like each other. So definitely while you're selling yourself, also let them sell themselves to you. And then write down any questions that you might have before you go in the house, just so that you can like have them fresh in your mind. I would remember, like, of course it's been like you usually see them after 2 days because of how the rounds work. So if I like thought of a question that I wanted to ask them, I just jot it down, look at my notes before I went into the house, so that I could sit down with the girl and be like, hey, I had this question, I was just thinking about this, and she can answer the question for you. Another tip is really important: to make your opinions yourself. Don't talk to people in your recruitment group about the organization. It's super fun to make friends with people in your recruitment group. I made so many friends in my group. Talk to them about other things. Don't talk to them about like, oh, what did you like about this one? What didn't you like? Because in the end, you guys are probably just going to be sharing opinions with each other, and it would be not good to be influenced by somebody else's opinion when you're supposed to be making the decision yourself. Instead of talking to other potential new members in your recruitment group, use your Rogama or whatever you call your recruitment guide to help you out with the advice on what you need to do during recruitment week. Again, they're there to help you, so rely on them more than the other PNMs. One question that I would ask myself during recruitment week is, which house are you excited to go back to? Like, are there any houses that you're dreading going back to? Because if you're dreading going back to a house, it's more than likely not the house for you. I would just think of houses, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go back there and have another conversation with another girl and meet so many new people in that chapter. Like, I'm so excited to go back to them. That is something that I really kept in mind throughout recruitment week, because if you're excited to go back to a house, like, you want to know more about them, and that's probably a house that like you should definitely keep in mind and consider for recruitment week. Going along with this question, I would think of like, do they have the same values as me? Do they have the same morals as me? Like, what is their philanthropy? Philanthropy was something that was super important to me when going through recruitment and choosing a chapter for me. So what is their philanthropy? Do I relate to it? Can I see myself being super passionate about this organization and their philanthropy? Stuff like that. This is another thing that I feel like goes without saying, but people do it anyways, I think, is don't talk poorly about another chapter or another woman that you talk to in another chapter, because in the end, like, it's all one big Panhellenic community, and while yes, you are like going to one chapter in the Panhellenic community, everybody is still like, it's still a community that you're going to be spending time in. And the girl that you're talking to, if you're talking bad about another sorority or another girl, like, who knows, they could be friends with each other. Like, how terrible and bad would that look? Keep it nice, be nice to everybody during recruitment week, because in the end it's a tough week for everybody, and you don't need to be putting other women down or other chapters down or anything like that. It's just not worth it. If you had a bad experience at a chapter or a bad experience with another girl in another chapter, keep it to yourself and just move on. The next thing is to form really good talking points. These are things that like it's gonna come so naturally to you as you go through recruitment week. I like noticed myself like kind of forming like a little script that I would say like throughout like the week. Even like on the third house that I visited of day one, I was like, okay, my name's Emma, this is my major, this is what I'm looking for in a sorority, I do YouTube, like these are the interests that I have, you know, like kind of just like saying like what you have to say. And for each round, it's kind of going to come naturally to you, and you're just going to have the conversation. The conversation is going to get easier and easier and easier with each round that you do. It'll come more natural to you just because you are getting used to it, and the girls that are recruiting are also getting back into the flow of it and getting used to it again too. Again, going along with this, sell yourself. Like, don't be afraid to talk about yourself, brag about the achievements that you've had and the leadership positions that you've had and all the things you've been involved with, because again, these are all things that they really want to know about, and it's probably really important to them to know these things about you. Making yourself stand out is one of the most important things of recruitment, so don't be afraid to go out of your way to make yourself stand out. Another piece of advice that I have is to talk to other girls that are going through recruitment. For me, I talk to a lot of girls in my recruitment group, and I'm still friends with a lot of them to this day. So definitely make friends with people in your recruitment group, but also make friends and like talk to the girls that are going into the same houses as you. Because once you like keep going through the rounds and like getting more and more and more into the rounds, the girls that are waiting in line in front of you and behind you to go into these houses are who would like could potentially be your sisters if you end up in that house, and if you guys both end up in that house together. So that is one thing that I thought of a lot, like, oh, we could be sisters like if we both end up in this sorority. So like, could you see yourself being friends with these people, and are these the people that like you would vibe with and you would like be able to like be yourself with? That is something that I definitely thought of a lot when waiting in line for the houses and going through recruitment. Another thing to remember, which I feel like a lot of people don't remember and like don't really realize, is that the girls that are recruiting you from the chapters are just as nervous as you are. A lot of them are sophomores or first-time recruiters, so they're just as nervous for you, and honestly, they need to have like a list of things in their head of things they can talk about in case like you run out of things to talk about. They need to have, like, it's their job to keep the conversation flowing. And it's really nerve-wracking to them, I'm sure. I haven't been on that side of it yet, but that sounds really terrifying. So just keep in mind they're just as nervous as you. So if you mess up and you say something like stutter your words or whatever, like it's like they're gonna understand, because they're probably gonna do something just like that as well, because they're again just as nervous. And they're human too, like everyone's human, you know? There's a few things that you shouldn't bring up during recruitment when you're talking to women in the houses. I'm sure your recruitment guide is gonna bring these up to you. These are a few of the things that my recruitment guide told me, just like completely don't talk about it, just stray away from it, because like that's kind of a big no-no with recruitment. So those things were booze or alcohol, boys, money, and politics. I will say that for the money, there is an entire round like devoted to financing and investment and money around, just because that's how they're gonna tell you how much it costs to be in the sorority and stuff like that. So that would be the time to ask questions about like, are there scholarship opportunities, stuff like that, stuff relating to money about the sorority. Again, I already said this, but I'm just gonna say it again. Be nice at every house, be nice to every girl that you talk to, be respectful even if you don't love the house and you'd rather be at a different house. Be respectful. In the end, those girls put so much work into recruitment week. They, you know, got themselves all polished and ready to be able to talk to you, and they put so much time into making the house beautiful and being able to talk to you and so much things. So definitely just keep that in mind, be respectful to them, be nice to them, even if you aren't in love with the house. Also, they're super excited to talk to you, and you should be excited to talk to them too. They have been waiting to meet the potential new members for this year, or like that year, for the entire year before then. So they're really excited to talk to you and meet all these new girls. So definitely just keep that in mind, be nice. The last thing that I'm gonna say is to be selfish with your decision. When you're thinking about, you know, what chapters you like, be selfish about it. Don't do like what your roommate does or what your best friend does or what other girls in your recruitment group are doing. Do what feels best for you. Don't do what your parents are telling you to do. If you are a legacy in a chapter, don't feel pressured to go to that chapter if you aren't in love with it. Be selfish with your decision, do what you want to do, and, you know, don't listen to what anybody else says, because in the end, you're the one going in the chapter, nobody else. Be selfish about it. That is all for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions at all, leave them below or direct message me on Instagram or Twitter. I respond to all of those every single night. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.